What is up, guys? This is your boy Zilla, and welcome to today's episode. I'm going to be giving my official impressions on the UFC 4 beta. But before I do that, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time I make a video. So guys, let's get into this because some gameplay has come out from the UFC 4 closed beta. Now, unfortunately, I did not get access to this beta even though I pre-ordered, so there must be an open beta on top of this where more players are going to get invited. But from the first leaked images, or not images but video, because you know they're not really supposed to show it, but some guys are showing it anyway, we can clearly see that some improvement and changes have been made to the gameplay. And first, upon seeing this, my impressions are that this game looks really smooth, and they've really upgraded the clinch work in this game, and that's going to be the real big meta for this game for guys like Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, wrestlers that can also have striking power, Woodley of the sort. These guys, I think, are going to have a much bigger role in the meta than they were before. The graphics look okay, some fighters look really good, but on a quality level, I know the graphics are a little bit different and the COVID-19 has changed everything. The models do not look as good, and especially with Conor McGregor, looking at his UFC 2 face and now his face now looks nothing alike. But this is a closed beta. The public at large is not really supposed to see it in this form, and plus we don't know what build of the game this was, like when it was released or when it was finished for these guys to play in this state, because they're probably at this point near gold status and they're probably finishing up the polishing of the game. Whereas I think this closed beta is probably something that came out or was finished like 2 months ago or something like that, before really heavy fine tuning. The game that we're probably going to see, or is going to be like the real game upon release, is going to be in the open beta after they take the feedback from the closed beta. So just keep everything with a grain of salt. A lot of stuff will probably be subject to change from this closed beta to the open beta, so just keep that in mind. So first, I'm going to start off with the striking, which looks just like UFC 3 striking system, which is, you know, great. It's probably the best striking system in UFC game history. So it's basically 3.5. If you hate it, you're probably not going to like this game, but if you do, then you're going to love this game like I love this game already just looking at it. And one of the notable things about the striking is that now there's a clinch that you can go straight to from the striking stance, which are probably going to be an extra stat, which is really good for clinchers. And I think that's going to change the meta a lot in terms of what characters are going to be the dominant meta type, you know, for the game, who are going to be consistently the most dominant. It's going to be the mixed wrestler power strikers that I think are going to dominate this game. Your Volkanovskis, your Kamaru Usmans, Colby Covingtons, Tyron Woodleys of the such that are going to really show off, you know, all realms of skill, whether it's in the clinch, whether it's striking, having just good enough striking. And the only way to really avoid this problem is if they buff up guys like Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, and the such, Justin Gaethje. They will have to upgrade their power and smoothness and head speed to counteract that, because they're going to be weak in that sort of clinch game. Now, Conor McGregor's going to be pretty okay, you know, most of those elite guys. When it comes down to the B+ characters, the B-, this is going to have a huge range of effect as far as you're going to use those B- wrestlers with power, and that's going to change the whole meta of the game. So definitely that's going to be an interesting point. Clinch is just going to be so important in this game. And the funny part is that they said this was going to be more casual. I hadn't played it, of course, but it seems like this system would make it even more difficult to learn all the ins and outs. It looks like they're keeping a lot of the complexity and adding more animations, with just changing the control layout just so they can appease the more casual fan that just wants to have fun. So it's really two different systems. Hopefully the symmetry blends in well, but it does look like it might clash with each other in the end. But let me get to the biggest improvement I think in this game, and it's going to be clear as day to see, is the ground game and the transition to ground game. I don't know how many times I've talked about this problem in the main meta of UFC 3, where since there are very few ways to take somebody down, it makes the takedowns that you do have overpowered. And in that department, when it starts to hit the ground game, or the transitions to the ground, there's not any animation quality. UFC 3 tried to fix this at the end of its life cycle when they tried to add animations, but it was just like a patch. They really need to overhaul the game with all these new animations, so when you get knocked down in your halfway state, there is a separate transition for that. Because if you got knocked down, right, and the person in the animation shows them getting right back up, you could not grab them anywhere in that space of time, which would have been important. And that's why this meta of the game, where now you can grab people right out of their knockdowns, and now there are different positions up against the cage, it's going to make the game more fluid, not only realistically, but it's going to give more chances for people to get back up and more chance for people to take people down, adding that level of balance and not having such overpowered takedowns, since they were far and few in variety. So this is really going to help out the balance of the game. It's going to make strikers even better. It's going to make people who know the game even better, while giving new players a chance for a more casual experience. But another thing I noticed about this game is the camera work, and how it's going to emphasize or come in, slightly when you start hurting somebody. And I thought that was a nice little detail. But one of the things I did not like is when you get hurt in this game, your screen turns red. And I do not like it at all. I think it's very clunky looking, and it goes away from the classic when you get hurt style. It makes the game a little bit unrealistic in that effect, right? And plus it kind of blurs your screen, so when you get knocked down and you're in a submission or something and you're trying to desperately get out, and then there's this whole red bleed over. It's not even like a dynamic bleed over either, where your screen shakes or something when you're hurt. No, it's just like a nuisance. It's like in the way. So hopefully in the option menu you can turn that off. Hopefully it doesn't even ship with the game. I don't like the idea of that, and I think by the time the game comes out, that will be removed entirely. Which brings me to the submission system, and I think this is another big improvement for this game. In each submission, or each style of submission, depending, I think there's going to be levels to the